Hey everyone, welcome back to episode 3 of the Vegan Test Kitchen. Today we are making Kasha Phyllo Pie, which is kind of a wintry pie with a flaky crust. First of all, we're going to do the sauce, the mustard sauce. What we're going to do with that is just dollop it on the Kasha Phyllo Pie. They recommended that as a nice condiment sauce, so that's why we're making it. So first we're going to do the mustard sauce, which calls for a small pan and these ingredients: sherry cooking wine, Dijon mustard, thyme, cornstarch, soy sauce, olive oil, capers with the brine, 1 lemon, 3 cloves of garlic, 1 vegetable bouillon cube or 3/4 cup of vegetable broth. Now what we're going to do is make some vegetable broth, and I'm making it because the recipe calls for a 1/4 cup of, I believe, a 1/4 cup. No, 3/4 cup of vegetable broth, and I have some vegetable broth left over from the last recipe that we did, but I don't have quite enough to do everything that we're doing today, so I'm going to make some right now, and we're going to save part of it for the Kasha Phyllo Pie. So I'm going to use just half of a cube, half this vegetable bouillon cube. We're going to do a cup of water, and then boil it, and then let it dissolve. While that's heating up, we're going to get a tablespoon of lemon juice. Yes, I know you're not supposed to use a metal whisk on a metal pot, but I don't have any plastic whisks. Now that that is pretty much dissolved, we're going to put it in this measuring cup, and we're going to save this small saucepan because we're going to use it for the actual sauce. I'm going to take about a 1/4 cup out because I'm going to use it in the next recipe, the Kasha Phyllo Pie. Pour about a 1/2 cup out and just put it to the side. So we're going to mix the cornstarch with the vegetable broth in a measuring cup, and then we're going to set that aside. Cornstarch, mix that in. Okay, now that that's set aside, in the small saucepan, we're supposed to, over medium heat, saute the garlic and the thyme in the olive oil. The olive oil and the thyme. If you all could smell this, you would die right now. It smells so good. Okay, now we're gonna add the wine and the soy sauce. Soy sauce, it's the sherry cooking wine. We're gonna raise the heat to high. And then once it starts boiling, we're gonna lower it back down and simmer for about 4 minutes. All right, now that it's boiling, we're gonna put it back down to a simmer, and we're supposed to let it reduce for about 4 minutes. Now it's time to add the vegetable broth mixture, the mustard, the lemon juice, and the capers. All right, we're supposed to stir often using a whisk, and then once it starts bubbling, put it to a low, and then simmer for about 3 minutes, and it says the sauce should be on the thick side, so we're going for a nice thick sauce. All right, we're going to turn it down to a low, and it's getting fairly thick, so we might just cook it for a few minutes more. It is definitely mustard. It's good though. So I think this is pretty much thick to the consistency that it probably should be. It's pretty much like a sauce. So what we're gonna do is take it off and set it aside, and that way it will get to, it said that the best kind of temperature for it was just around room temperature. So we're gonna just let it sit, and it'll be ready for us when we make the pie. All right, now that the mustard sauce is done, we're going to start on the Kasha Phyllo Pie. Now for the ingredients: 1/2 pound cremini or baby bella mushrooms, 1 stalk of celery, 1 carrot, 1 medium onion, caraway seeds, vegetable broth, coriander, roasted buckwheat groats, olive oil, sauerkraut, and 1 package of filo dough frozen. So first we're going to roast the buckwheat groats, because if you can see this, if you haven't ever seen these before, these are a light tan and kind of a greenish color, which means they've not been roasted yet. We're gonna roast those in a saucepan right now, just to where they're kind of a dark brown, kind of like dark tan brownish color. That way they will be done. So it shouldn't take too long. It should take, 5 to 10 minutes. So we're not putting any oil or water or anything in here because we just want to roast them, kind of toast them. While those are toasting, we're going to heat up the vegetable stock because it asks to put in the hot vegetable stock when we do actually add it to the mixture. So we're gonna go ahead and just heat it up right now. So if this isn't annoying, it calls for 2 1/4 cup of vegetable broth. There's 2 cups in here, so it calls for a quarter more cup. That's why we made a whole cup for the sauce, and where we were just using 3/4 cup. So now we're gonna do the rest of this and then add the extra 1/4 cup. Since this is taking a little bit longer to roast than we want, we're gonna move it to a different burner and then start on the mixture. Get a medium-sized saucepan. We're going to heat the oil. We're gonna do medium-high heat. We're gonna be multitasking today. It's probably heated enough. We're going to add the onion, celery, and then stir fry those for about 4 to 5 minutes, just till they get soft. Almost there on the buckwheat groats. So you just need to get a little bit more brown. I don't know about you all, but anytime that I saute onions and celery, I think of Thanksgiving because of stuffing and all that good stuff. It always brings back good memories. All right, now that this is softened pretty much to where we need it to be, we're gonna add the mushrooms and then cook for just until the liquid's evaporated from the mushrooms, and then another 6 to 8 minutes after that. Fun fact, I used to hate mushrooms, and I've grown a tolerance for them now that I've become vegan years ago. So I can appreciate them now, but it did take me a while to actually get to the point where I would not like gag when I had to eat them. All right, we're gonna saute this for probably another 5 minutes. All right, since we're smoking a little bit, I think we've gotten to the point where the buckwheat groats are officially roasted. So if you look at them, they're brown, kind of a dark tan, light brown color. Don't see much green in there anymore, so I think we're in a good spot. So we're gonna take that off the burner. Okay, now that that's cooked for about 6 to 8 minutes, we're gonna add the carrots. These are the grated carrots. It's just 1 carrot, by the way. And we're gonna saute that for about 2 more minutes, the book says. All right, now we're going to add the caraway seeds, coriander, salt, pepper, and buckwheat groats. Caraway seeds, coriander, ½ teaspoon of salt. And it just says freshly cracked pepper, so we're just gonna add a little bit of pepper. Still need to add the buckwheat groats. All right, and it said to mix it around and make sure they get covered with oil. If you all could smell this is a very interesting smell. I don't know if I've ever smelled this before. With the caraway seeds and the mushrooms and the kasha, it's a very interesting, it's hard to describe. All right, now that they're pretty much coated, we're gonna add the vegetable stock. Then we're gonna bring it to a boil, lower the heat to a low simmer, and then cover and cook for 12 to 14 minutes until the buckwheat groat is tender. All right, while that's cooking, let's talk about the filo dough. So this is interesting to try to find. I did find it eventually at Whole Foods. It is vegan, so I don't know if most of them are vegan. I'm assuming they are because this was the only filo dough that they had. Just check the box. And ideally, you want to follow the directions on how to thaw it. You're supposed to leave it in the fridge for 7 to 8 hours or overnight because this will most likely be frozen when you buy it. And then allow it to stand at room temperature for about 2 hours before using. I didn't do all of that, So we'll see if everything turns out great. So it should be fine. We'll see. If you've never worked with phyllo dough, the idea is to create layers and then it kind of puffs up and it's flaky and delicious. Hopefully that's what will happen. All right, now that it has cooked for about 12 minutes, we're going to let it cool. It said to make sure that the liquid has been absorbed and that the buckwheat groats are tender, which they are. I just smashed one. So we're gonna turn the heat off and let it cool. It needs to be cool to the touch when you actually put it in the pie. While that is cooling, we're gonna set the oven for 375, and then we're gonna start doing the dough, which I'm absolutely terrified about. All right, so what we're gonna do is grab a medium, it says a medium casserole dish. This looks medium-ish to me. And prepare the dough. So you need a brush to brush the oil on the dough through the sheets. So we have some olive oil. I just dumped some olive oil in there and we're gonna use it how we need. So we need about it says 4 to 5 sheets per, like for the bottom and then 4 to 5 for the top. So we're just gonna do 4. So we're gonna pull 8 sheets, put them on a cooking sheet and then cover it with a damp towel. So you're supposed to put like a wrap on it and then put a damp towel on it because it can dry really quickly, I guess. So we're gonna pull out 8 sheets. If you've never bought these before, it's kind of crazy how thin these are. And I've already ripped one. You know what, let's do 5 layers each. Why not make it more difficult? All right, we got 10 sheets. Oh my God, this is so crazy. All right, I'm gonna put it right there. I feel like I'm like rushing against the clock right now. We're gonna put this over that. Oh no, wait, we're gonna, okay, hold on. We're gonna pull out 1 sheet, do what we need to do. This is gonna be a disaster, I can already tell. It's clean towel, so make sure it's clean. It says to lightly oil the dish, so we're gonna do that really quick because I feel like the world's gonna blow up if I don't hurry up and do this. Okay, I think it looks good. Okay, now that that's good, we're going to quickly brush this. It says, oh my God, it's ripping already. Guess what, guys? This is gonna make a huge mess, and they already said this in the book. So be prepared. Make sure that you have like a station set up for this because it's probably gonna make a huge mess. There's gonna be olive oil everywhere. Oh my God. That looks good. Okay. Good God. This seems like a lot of work for 1 sheet at a time. So we're gonna grab, oh good Lord. If only I had 8 million arms. If this doesn't look like a disaster, I don't know what does. All right, let's see if we can drape this on there. Well, that wasn't too bad. On to layer 3. Why did I decide to do 5 layers? That was just a horrible, horrible decision. Okay, let's just do that. Okay. Okay, so that's layer 3. So now we're gonna go with 4. We're almost done with the bottom layer. Yeah, I'm gonna say screw the saran wrap. The damp towel seems to be working just fine. Hey, this has actually turned out better than I thought it was going to. All right, last layer for the bottom. Ooh, maybe just the towel idea was not a good idea. It's starting to look like a disaster. Okay, so obviously this isn't as flat and straight as you would want it, but again, I've never used this before, and I can almost guarantee you probably haven't either, so I would love to see you do better. All right, so now that the bottom is done, hallelujah, so we're gonna fold it in half. Looks good. Grab this. And we're going to press it into the bottom and then fold it into the sides. It says to push it up into the sides. All right, now that the bottom layer is done, we're supposed to press 1/2 of the kasha mixture onto the dough, and then we're gonna spread the sauerkraut over it and sprinkle with a little cracked pepper. Ah, that's hot. Ah. Okay, we're gonna take 1/2 of it, spread it in there all good. Then we're gonna put the sauerkraut. I don't know about y'all, but this is my favorite part. I love sauerkraut, and it's probably just my Polish side coming out of me. I'm gonna put some cracked pepper on it. Then we're gonna add the last half of the mixture. All right, now that that is finished, what we're gonna do, set this over to the middle and do the remainder of the filo dough. So it's sticking a little bit when I take the layers, and I think part of that is probably the fact that I did not thaw it like I was supposed to and by the directions. It's not bad. I mean, obviously what you're seeing is I'm having a little bit of difficulty, but it's not like it's tearing so badly that you can't piece it together. I think this first layer is probably the hardest because there's not another layer to stick to. A little bit easier to rip when it's just one layer. So as you can tell, it's a little bit dried on the ends because I wasn't able to cover it all the way, I think. So it does definitely dry out if you do not keep it covered and damp. All right, we're gonna fold this, and then we're gonna put the top on, stick it in the oven. So I can fold this down. I know this looks like I definitely know what I'm doing right now. Shove it down there. All right, and then the last thing you're supposed to do is coat it with oil, the top of it. That way it gets that nice crispy, flaky top to it as well. All right, I think we're good. I'm pretty happy with it. Now I made a colossal disaster. So we're gonna stick it in the oven for about 30 minutes. We're definitely done. So I made the mistake of not checking it a couple minutes before, so it's it's slightly overcooked. It's not terribly burnt, so I think it should be fine, but it is definitely a nice golden color. So we're gonna let it sit for about 10 minutes before we cut into it. So we're gonna cut into it. It's very flaky, that's for sure. It says to use a thin serrated knife, which is why I'm using this horrible knife that nobody likes, but I have to use it. And here it is. So I'm gonna put the mustard sauce on. I'm gonna put pretty much it all over the top because it said it's great doused in it. So I'm gonna put a decent amount on the top, and then we're gonna try it. It's a nice crunch to it. Let's see. It's a good flavor. It's interesting. To be honest with you, I don't think I've ever had kasha in a pie like this before. I feel like I've had it in other stuff. I have to say the mustard sauce really makes it a lot better. So not better, but it really complements it really well. I hope you cook this yourself. It's really interesting. I really think you should. And I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, subscribe for more, and thanks for watching.